This next report takes us back to the heart of Texas, where Gary Tuchman has found another county awash in both cash and allegations of corruption. The money, more than $1 million last year, was seized from drivers who were pulled over by cops. There are allegations that some of those drivers were innocent. So what's happening to all that money? Well, that's why so many people are steamed. Gary Tuchman tonight is keeping them on.
The dusty roads here in Texas Hill Country have been a gold mine for police and prosecutors. But some defense attorneys call it the best little ripoff in Texas.
It makes Texans look like buffoons, and it makes it look like all of our judges and police officers are crooks down here.
In Texas and other states, cops can pull over drivers suspected of serious crimes, and they can actually seize their cash and valuables. 4 times the former DA here spent tens of thousands of it for all expense-paid trips to Hawaii for himself, some of his staff, and spouses.
Do you think it was okay to spend that money to go to Hawaii?
Absolutely.
Why do you think that?
Well, it's part of the United States. Last time I checked, I mean, we have conferences all over the other states. What's the difference in Hawaii?
The organizers of the annual trip to this resort in Oahu invite spouses, sweeties, friends. The trip does include 10 hours of law seminars, 10 hours out of an entire week. The rest of the time is for sun, golf, and luau's. The price, $4,000 a couple. It's steep, but not when it's paid for by public money, made back home on the highway. Ron Sutton was the district attorney here for 32 years. He didn't run again this fall, but he's still working part-time in the DA's office.
But could you understand, sir, how it kind of looks bad to people that you're going to Hawaii 4 times?
Only to those people that are jealous because they haven't been to Hawaii.
The money used by the former DA came from the Texas forfeiture law. District attorneys' offices get a cut of the seizure money and are allowed to use the cash for, quote, official purposes, which the former DA says is
anything used in connection with promoting and functioning of the office or training. Could be anything.
It's outrageous.
Texas State Senator John Whitmire says the forfeiture law often leads to corruption.
The law that I am going to change is so general that they can literally get away with stealing, in my mind.
The purpose of forfeitures is to strip real criminals of ill-gotten gains. Although in Texas, there have been many accusations that innocent people, often minorities, are targeted and pulled over. Deputies told this man he was driving too long in the passing lane.
Step back. You're acting funny. I don't like...
It got violent. The driver, a Latino and a U.S. Navy veteran, was charged with endangering police. After his lawyer got his hands on this video, charges were dropped.
It was, I think, probably a classic profile stop.
This is the Kimball County seat of Junction, Texas. There are only 4,400 people who live in this entire county. This is Main Street. You can see it's a quiet, sleepy place. But the Sheriff's Department deputies here are very active and busy. Getting forfeiture money is a very important industry here. How important? The Sheriff's Office keeps more than an average of $1 million annually in forfeitures. The former DA says he had more than $1 million in his account when he left office. He says Hawaii wasn't a vacation, but a way to learn and get legal credits. But beyond paying for airfares and hotel rooms, they're spending money for the group. Here's a check paid to cash for $6,000 to cover the week.
Why do you guys need $6,000?
Well, you go to Hawaii and you'll see why. A hamburger and a drink's $20.
But what really got our attention was this. The former DA says that one year he took this man to Hawaii, Emil Pro. He's the judge who hears forfeiture cases.
Well, wouldn't it have been better to say, Judge, you can't come with us to Hawaii because we're using forfeiture money?
Well, that issue has never come up until right now.
Okay, so what's your answer?
The answer is I don't see anything wrong with it. It's help educating the judge.
And what about this? Our search through the public record shows checks written directly to the judge. Here's one for $3,000, $4,000, $4,500.
Why were checks written directly to the judge from the forfeiture account?
Cover his expenses and conferences.
Could you see how taxpayers might say, you know, a little more documentation would be nice here?
Well, in retrospect, maybe so, but I know I did nothing wrong. My conscience is clear.
We asked for an interview with the judge, but we're told he did not want to talk. But we needed his side of the story. So we caught up with him outside the courthouse to ask about his Hawaii trip.
You know, I'm really not able to comment on that at this point. I appreciate your interest. At some point, I hope I can, but at this point, I can't. And I appreciate your interest.
How come you can't comment about it?
There's just issues. I mean, I've got forfeiture cases still pending, and I can't.
And that's why I'm talking about this, because you hear the forfeiture cases, but that's the issue.
I understand, and we're dealing with that issue.
There is a new DA here in Texas Hill Country. He says there will be no more trips to Hawaii.
So, Carrie, let me just get a couple questions. Let me just get this straight, though. The judge who's hearing the forfeiture cases is getting cash money from the forfeiture cases.
Right. He's gotten expenses for at least one Hawaii trip, and he's also gotten cash money to, according to the old district attorney, to attend conferences, but it's not really well documented.
To say the least. And the state senator told you that he wants to toughen the forfeiture law. What's the situation with that? Is that happening?
Well, we've done 3 stories now on these forfeiture laws in Texas. Since we started doing the stories, the state Senate voted unanimously for tougher laws. A House committee voted unanimously for tougher laws. It's expected the governor would sign the bill, but then the full House dithered and dathered, never got around to it. The legislative session ended last week, and here's the kicker. Texas only meets its legislature every 2 years, so a new law now can't be passed until 2011.
And just in case viewers think, oh, I saw this story already, you did this a couple of weeks ago, this is an entirely different town than the other place where they were taking money from drivers and not giving it back when those drivers turned out to be innocent of anything.
Well, let's make it clear. There's a lot of counties in Texas where there are no allegations whatsoever, but we have found so far at least 3 where there are substantial allegations of alleged improprieties involving this forfeiture account.
Are you a little nervous driving through some of these counties in Texas, Gary? I hope you have people with you.
I will tell you that Texas, I believe, Anderson, is the friendliest state in the United States. And nothing against New Jerseyans, where I'm from. But Texas is friendly, and even the people who we are doing these stories about have been very friendly to us, I must say.
Well, very friendly, but you know, it's the people in Texas who are outraged about this probably more than anybody, because you know this affects them. They're the ones driving these roads all the time. Anyway, we want to hear. We're going to continue to follow this story in Texas. We've also been getting emails from people saying, "Look, this happened around the country. This isn't something just particular to Texas. This happens in other small towns as well." Let us know. Join the live chat happening now at ac360.com. If you have examples of this happening in places where you live, let us know. We'll try to investigate. Just ahead.